Hey, what's good, everybody? I wanted to make this video real quick. Check out the beautiful view. It's funny because right now the thing said 111 and today's 111. So I thought that was pretty cool. So anyways, I've been wanting to make this video because of the whole retrograde stuff. So I'm not gonna be disrespectful, but I'm gonna be very honest, right, about some things. I don't have a lot of light left, so I'm gonna try to be speak clearly, and so I don't have to redo this because I don't have a whole lot of light left. So anyways, it's crazy, there's people like screaming or some weird stuff. Okay, so anyways, that's crazy. I bet you, well, it's not Halloween no more. I was gonna say they're the kind of people that then after Michael Myers finds or Jason in a cabin somewhere, right? But so anyways, so about the retrograde, right? For me, it never fails with the retrogrades. I always have people from my past contact me, right? It's never failed. It happens a lot, but not just people from my past, situations, right? Situations from my past always happen during the retrograde. Never fails, no matter what, right? So it's a chance. It's the chance for you to evolve, or it's a chance for you to stay stuck and possibly go backwards, right? What better way than with relationships, right? Relationships are like, I guess, the easiest way for people to fall, right? Not necessarily, for example, I remember the situation with the job, right? I was in the job that I was the most miserable in. I was at for 9 years, and they gave me up to a year to go back, and I looked it up. I think it happened to be in a retrograde, and it was like Scorpio season, which is death. And see, I was trying to kill this job from like 9 years, right, to not go back. And think about it, I gave 9 years of my life, so there was no certain, I didn't have nothing lined up. It was just I left. And then as the year was coming, which happened to be in that retrograde season, from if I'm correct from what I looked up, because I was just curious, since I knew I was going to make this video, because it's been kind of pushing at me. I don't know if you want to call it, like, I don't like using the word down, like, oh, I'm getting a download, but whatever. Something was telling me to make this video, right? So to talk about the retrogrades and all that, how it's a chance for you to evolve. So anyways, I started having the doubts. They gave me up to a year to go back, and so I was having the doubts, like, man, I still don't know what I'm gonna do, blah blah blah. And then that's when after that I got into acting, right? And then it was great. That's when I met George Lopez. He had a similar story, and he talked about how he had worked at this job, and then he shared a lot of stuff that night. But one thing was like, he said how when he went to give his like notice at work, they were like, well, he said he was gonna do comedy, I think, and they were like, well, you're crazy and this and that. And then he said, like, 20 years later, here I am. So it was pretty crazy that the universe hooked it up, right? I listened when they were showing me it was time to leave. They kind of made it so I had to leave the job. And then they put someone in my path that had a similar story right when I was ready to throw in the towel, right? I guess maybe because I was asking for help. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't think I blamed it. Like, what the hell, universe? Like, you told me to leave the damn job. I remember even the day I left, I drove out to the ocean, and I looked up and I was like, just tell me I made the right decision, And then I seen a shooting star. So I was like, all right, cool. That's all I need to know. Like, you guys tell me I made the right decision. I made the right decision, right? But then within a year, was coming up, and that's all they gave me to go back. I started having the doubts, right? So anyways, that was during the retrograde, right? It crept back, the thing from the job, the fear, like, oh, what am I gonna do, boom, boom. If I would have gone back to that job, man, where would my life be? Like, I'm sure I would have lived good and done whatever, but it would have been a whole different route that, like, I couldn't imagine, right? Like, it's been a good journey. Like, you know, the acting has given me the flexibility to do it. I wouldn't even have this channel, this podcast, everything that has kind of grown into something. It allowed me to do more music, you know, record stuff. It just gave me like a whole different life, right? For me, right? Like, people are different, right? Like, I think I was always around more of a family that needs something stable. If not, they'll lose it, you know. And for me, like, you know, I can adapt. I could, you know, I could make things happen. But sometimes, yeah, like, it's a scarier, you know, without having the security. Like, you got to make things happen, right? So having that drive that you could make things happen, you know, it's not for everybody. Like, so, you know, it's a lot of scary moments, but whatever, blah blah. So anyways, relationship wise, right? Because I know that's what people want to hear about. You know, I've been warned. Like, even this, I shared, you know, we just did that Angels Number video with Naila Ma'ad, and I mentioned to her how, you know, I started seeing the 666, which could mean two things. You know, it's something else, but to me it was like a warning. And within 10 seconds of seeing 666, someone from my past hit me up. Didn't mean they're an evil person or nothing like that, but it just meant, like, for me, they were trying to tell me don't do it. I could have gone down that road. I don't know what, you know, like, but I mean, thankfully my connection, like, they'll you know, they warned me, right? I think people are less aware probably don't get the warnings like that, but at least with me, they warned me, right? But I still had a choice, still free will. I could have still gone backward. Not that going with that person would be backwards, but there's nothing. Okay, so let me just, so I don't keep babbling on. Like, the last thing I would ever want to do is, like, anyone from my past, I made my peace with them. I don't need to go backwards. Like, there's been so many things, like, you know, I really do feel that I am meant to break generational traumas, generational curses, you know. I don't know if I've ever shared it here, but see, like, my grandpa was murdered by a woman, right? Like, you know, my grandma, when I finally met her, she said that, you know, he was poisoned, right? He, you know, he had a few women here and there, and I guess one of them was upset, and, you know, she poisoned him. That's the story, right? And you know, there's been so many things. Like, I've never really had, I mean, actually, no, I mean, it almost happened to me, right? Like, I shared that story before, someone I was dealing with, and there had to be kind of a little divine intervention and stuff like that. So, you know, I've had a lot of situations where, you know, I've met people that were miserable, right? Like, that were in relationships, men or women, right? It doesn't matter. That'll stay stuck in something. Sometimes you see a window to get out, and it's never going to be easy, but they'll stay. Or, see, sometimes not even the other person. It could be you not willing to change, right? You know, I think I noticed one of the only complaints I ever had, like, I'm not perfect, but one of the only complaints I ever had was, you know, when I was fairly young, right? Someone said that I drank too much, right? And, you know, it was like, you know, she happened to be a stripper, right? Obviously, back then, like, strippers wasn't the very respected profession it is today, right? It was, you know, Cardi B hadn't made it all popular and all that stuff, or stuff like that, right? But I don't know, for some reason, for me, like, at that moment, and it's no disrespect intended, but yeah, in my head, I was like, damn, like, so this stripper doesn't, like, after we had seen each other for a little bit, I don't know, I don't think I was ever, like, disrespectful or something, but I don't know, something, I drank too much, right? That was her thing. And you know, I guess, you know, I had kind of, you know, hooked up with a friend of hers too, that they both agreed that, yeah, like, that I drank too much, right? So here I am thinking, like, damn, like, I'm being judged by a stripper. So I might as well not sugarcoat it, you know. I mean, like I said, I was young, early 20s, whatever, and it was like, this stripper saying I drink too much, you know. Like in my head it was like, so you that take off like your clothes for a living, you're telling me that like my drinking is a problem, like you can't really deal with my drinking, because I don't even think she drank, right? So I mean, that was, you know, but she was really cool, you know. So at least, you know, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, whatever, like in case any strippers are watching this or something like that. But that was my idea, right? So it definitely affected me. It was like, well, shoot. See, so in that case, she made a choice. So I don't know if the next dude she went with or something was a drunk or something. Not that I was a drunk, but at the time I met her, I was in the military. So I had to actually stop drinking. I'm not going to go into that story, but it's kind of hard to not drink when you're around, like, I mean, you know, there's a lot of drinking that goes on in the military, obviously, right? So it was kind of hard. I had stopped and then I started again. Maybe I'll share that story in another time. But anyways, you know, going back to this whole retrograde, right? It never fails, really. I've been with some relationships that are very, like, so toxic. I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. Like, that's how toxic they were. And so I was always thankful when they ended. So when I see people from my past return, it's like, I'm cool with them, but I don't really need that, right? I don't need that energy. Like, because some people haven't changed, right? Some people stay the same. They want to rehash the past. They want to go down memory lane, something nostalgic, which is cool. I mean, I'll even have some good memories, like you know, but I just don't want to go backwards. Like, and I notice when I don't go backwards, things open up, right? It's like, it really is a test, right? I think humans don't really understand, whether you believe in God or just some universal source, that we're being tested. Like, you know, it said that we were made in the image of God, right? So do we not put people through tests? At a job, don't they check your performance before they give you a raise? You know what I mean? Then they bust it out while you know, or they'll try to downplay it so they don't give you a raise. But at least the spirit world doesn't seem to do that, right? But they will test you, right? You do get tested. And so sometimes you're being tested. If we put you in this position, are you going to be able to handle it? Are you going to be able to do something good with it, right? Like there's tests, you know? There's tests that go on. Some of them are harder. It's almost like, yeah, the more responsibility, you know, the more responsibility you have, the harder the tests get, right? But, so yeah, I'm just like, I wouldn't want to go backwards. So right now, like it just, like I said, never fails, retrogrades. You know, I think, because I've noticed, right, things have been pretty positive for me, and I think a lot of it has to do with that, the tests, right, that keep coming up. So I'm just saying that's for you to realize that if you want to keep going backwards, like I talk to a lot of people, right, but I can't put other people's business out there. But I see so many patterns, and I kind of hint when I talk to people, like I try to make them see, like, was that the right thing to do? But I can't hold people's hands through it because they never learn, right? If you keep doing the same things, like, this is very because there's so many people that do it, right? So I'll just put this out there, and it's not singling anyone out, because like I said, there's so many people that do these kind of things. People, like, knowingly, you know, that mess with people that are already married or already in relationships. At some point or another, you know, that was a test. Maybe that person that you wanted to meet was right around the corner, but you chose to go for that person that was already with somebody, or you being with somebody, and you go and do this stuff. Not to say it won't work. I'm sure, like, the universe will give you what you want, but somewhere down the line, maybe you will be all happy, and one day, 20 years down the line, all of a sudden your whole world comes crashing down because, well, remember that thing that you did, you know, or stuff like that. So there's all tests. But see, you could have done it clean. You know, one of my favorite things is, like, from there's this movie called Thinner, and, you know, where the guy kills the guy's wife, and then all this stuff. And at the end, where, if you guys haven't seen it, check it out, the movie Thinner. But anyways, there's this gypsy guy, right? And he had cursed this guy, but then to break the curse, he has to give the curse to somebody else. But the gypsy tells him, like, die clean, white man from town, die clean. So we all have a choice, right? Like, I think, like, this is the most, like, if I go today, I died clean. You know what I mean? Like, my karmic debts are paid. But not only that, like I said in the beginning, generational stuff. Like I said, right? Like, my grandpa was murdered by a woman. Luckily for me, I don't have, like, it's too much of a headache for me. So I'm not, whenever I've been in a relationship, like, I never cheated on anyone I was with, right? So whenever I was committed, because I got so many things going on. I don't got time, like, for that headache, right? Like the music was always so unsure, doing music, and then even with, like, just the stuff I do, it's like I don't have time to you know what I mean, to be dealing with that, or trying to keep lies. Like, I couldn't imagine living a life of lies, right? Like, just trying to, because then you gotta lie to cover up that lie, and lie and lie and lie, and I don't got that kind of I think this went somewhere else. I don't know if I covered exactly what I wanted to cover. Like, I had it in my head, like, what I wanted to say about this whole retrograde thing, and like, the experiences and stuff. So I guess I just want to drive that point that it's an opportunity, right? So I'll just cut it with this. It's an opportunity to move forward. And I can say, if it was all a test, there's no more better feeling than knowing that you didn't go backwards. For me, like, even that, right? I dreamed recently, like, I saw someone from my past. I know, like, I was walking in a crowd of people, and they were there in the crowd but not saying nothing. So what I took it like, yeah, that means they're lurking about, they're probably watching my social media. And it was during the retrograde too. And not just them, then someone else messaged me, then someone else messaged me, then someone else messaged me. So it happens, to me. And then I'm just, like, mind blown. Like, why is the universe trying to test me? Like, what the hell? What is this about? But I feel like there's a responsibility coming, and I don't know. They just want to make sure, like, yeah, am I not gonna look back? Am I moving forward? So for me, the last thing I want to do is go backwards, right? I want to keep going forward. And like I said, no disrespect to them, but obviously anyone I was with or talked to that, like, even that, I actually, I have been rejected before. And then, so it's like, why would you want to be with someone that thought someone else was a better option, right? Or something like that. Like, why in the world would you want to go with someone? Because I think I would have to have low self-esteem to go with somebody that thought someone else was a better deal, and once that didn't work out, then they come trying to get you. Then I would think, like, if I'm with that person, then I would just have, I think it's some low self-esteem thing to be like, well, I'm just happy to have them now. Like, to me, then that's how some people think, like, oh, this person's mine now, or whatever. But when it's the choice, it's like yeah, I just couldn't imagine doing that, right? Being with someone that thought someone else was a better choice, and then once that didn't work out, or they got rejected themselves or something like that, then they want to come and start something or something like that. So there's so many variables to it, right? Like, that kind of stuff. So just be confident in yourself, like, know your worth. Once you know your worth and you have self-esteem, like, you won't want to go backwards. It's hard, and it's not just like, oh, like, I'm like, build up your self-esteem. Like, maybe you do want to do something different. Maybe you do want to be secure in your finances. You want to be more fit, healthier, all that stuff that'll make you know your worth. Increase your spiritual connection. Know that, like, who you are. What I'm saying? Break those generational curses, right? Like I said, like, if my grandpa was murdered by a woman, why in the hell would I want to end up with the wrong one? Like, if I didn't learn from his mistake. And just seeing so many things, like seeing so many unhappy people in relationships, like, for me, and there's no, like, disrespect to, like, women or anybody, but I'm not trying to do the happy wife, happy life thing, right? Like, like I've said in another interview, like, double the men in this world kill themselves, right, than women. So for every like 1,000 women, like 2,000 men kill themselves, right? So I mean, does it have that kind of mentality to do with it? Happy wife, like, are men so busy trying to make someone else happy that they neglect themselves? And what's worse than being with a partner that is not equal? So while you're trying, working and this and that to make them happy, like, are you getting the nourishment back? So I could never be with someone. I interacted once with someone that was supposed to be very spiritual, and it was just, so that didn't even matter, right? It was just the most toxic thing. So that's not even appealing, right, to me. It's like, you'll know if someone's giving you the nourishment back, right? If you don't feel it, then it probably ain't happening. You'll know if you're being nourished back. You'll feel it in your soul. You'll feel it in your heart. You'll feel it, like, you'll know, right? Like, you'll know. And so, yeah, like, for me, I have no problem with, like how everyone wants to do the equality thing nowadays. So equality's cool, fine with me. You know what I'm saying? I got no problem. Like, giving and giving and giving, as long as I'm it's like the unrequited love thing. Like, I'm not cool with that, right? So no unrequited love, right? Like, that's not what I'm looking for. And neither should you, I would think. But who knows? Some people like to live in misery, right? And misery loves company. So I'm sure if you want to be miserable, you'll find someone that wants to be miserable with you. So that's cool, right? And I've done that in the past. Like, that's why. But if I'm not dead yet, and so many people die every day. Look at what just happened in, what was it, Korea, right? Where, like, all these people got smashed. So imagine that, like, going without having experienced something good, like, to feel like you met someone good, like a good memory to take with you and stuff, like all that, right? So I know that was long. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this video because I feel like I was rambling half the time. But it's just retrogrades, right? Like, it never fails. It could be with a job, like I told you, my example, and I almost fell for it. I was panicking, but I'm so thankful. Like, now in hindsight, see, 7 years later, I could tell you that, wow, I'm glad I got shown a little light, right? Relationship wise, right? Like, I feel like I dodged the bullet a lot of times, and things that I've dreamed and seen that they've shown me, I feel like I dodged the bullet with certain situations. No disrespect to anybody. No disrespect to anybody. You know what I mean? And while that plane's flying out of the mountain, so I think I'm gonna follow it and end it there, right? So I don't know. Hope you guys are well. Hopefully I didn't insult nobody. In case, like I said, like, for my dreams, I saw people from my past lurking about. Like, they used to watch my social. Here's another thing is, I've never once, anybody that I was with from my past, gone and looked at their social media, gone and looked them up, nothing. Like, usually when I stop talking to someone, like, all the pictures get deleted, all the everything, like, they disappear. So there isn't even, it's funny because there's even been times where, maybe it was during a retrograde, where my mind did go backwards, and I probably tried to, like, look at something, and it was like, oh, damn, I really did delete everything. So I really clean, like, I wiped the slate clean, right? And but then usually people still will try to contact me or stuff like that. But for me, it's like, that's it. So that I've never, like, ever, once I stopped talking to someone, I never went backwards to, like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. Let me be creepy and look through their social media. I've been stalked before, and like I said, it is creepy, right? Someone showing up to your work, calling your work, your manager being like, hey, someone keeps calling me and hanging up, I know it's for you. That kind of crazy stuff, like, I've experienced all that stuff. So even though once that happens, then you're like, yeah, like, I'm glad I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah, I probably won't even post this, but if I do, then hope you guys are all well, and heed my words of experience, right? Like, I'm just talking from experience. Like, your life will, I think, for me, well, I could just say for me, I definitely feel like my life, like, the universe rewards you when you keep pushing, right? So on that note, I'm out here. Peace. That's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever. Yeah, check it out.
I said, don't worry. No, no, no. I said, don't worry. You ain't got to do this alone. I said, don't worry. You don't got to do this alone. I seen this man walking down the street. You know that place where we all meet. I asked him why the frown. He told me I've been down. Well, maybe we can work to turn this around, yeah. Cause this life gets hard sometimes. But baby, you know about my grind. I told him I walk with God. And even though it gets hard, I'll never quit until the day that I'm gone. So don't worry, you ain't got to do this alone. So maybe we can change our home, the way we treat our family and friends. Well, baby, I'm saying it again. You ain't got to do this alone. So maybe we can change our home, the way we treat our family and friends. Well, baby, I'm saying it again. Express it verbally, urgently. This insurgency is not slowly infecting and spreading like it was mainstream. It's not a dream, I seen the screen. Advertisement on machines, deadly food that's cancerous and ravenous up in our bloodstream. That money green is all we see, cause that's what they put in our memories like a flash drive. I've tried, but fail forward every time. I'm never going back, in fact, I'm doing what's best to secure this spot and drop what's hot, not just today, but tomorrow, and I'm forever loving. You ain't got to do this alone. So maybe we can change our home, the way we treat our family